Now, from the Columbia Basin, your local news source, this is iFIBER 1 News, presented in high definition. The #1 source for real-time local news, local sports headlines, and our very own Weather Center forecast covering the entire Columbia Basin. With your iFIBER 1 News team, reporting news in real time as it's happening. From the iFIBER Communications HD broadcast studio in Ephrata, Washington, this is iFIBER 1 News, and it starts now.
Welcome to iFIBER 1 News. I'm Sarah Brewer with your weekend edition of iFIBER 1 News. We'll review some of your favorite stories from this week, and we have the latest weather forecast for the Columbia Basin from the iFIBER 1 Weather Center. Our top story this week, Ephrata began the series of Relay for Life events across the Columbia Basin last weekend. Here with the story is Cameron Probert.
Hope for a cure for cancer was the message Friday and Saturday as people walked through the night to raise money for the American Cancer Society.
We walk for that amount of time overnight so that it signifies the same journey that a cancer patient would go through. You start out in the daylight, it gets dark. It's the same way as a cancer patient. Sometimes it's the darkest time in their life is right before the dawn comes up. The sun will come up, things will turn around, and they'll get better.
Participants at the 12th annual Relay for Life of the Columbia Basin gathered at the Ephrata High School track and raised at least $51,000 for the organization. Event co-chair Susie Anderson said the money goes to education, research, advocacy, and services. About 70 cancer survivors participated in the event, and cancer touched the lives of many of the participants. For Donald Timke, both his former wife and present wife and several family members and friends suffered from the disease. He makes it a priority to be at the event every year.
Because my wife's a survivor and my daughter's mother, who my wife and I both love dearly, I figured I owed it to her.
For Anderson, her father's struggle with the disease brought her to participate in the event. Her father died in 1993.
And I thought it's just not right. It's a horrid, horrid disease. Since then, I have had my niece and a cousin, both diagnosed with breast cancer. Both have survived. Last October, my husband was diagnosed with colon cancer. And because of the fact that he's gone in and gotten routine colonoscopies, they caught it early enough to where he could go in the hospital. We spent 9 days in Central Washington Hospital in Wenatchee. He came out with 2 foot less colon, but otherwise healthy, a good bill of health.
The event helps Anderson connect with other people who have similar stories and can understand the struggles with cancer. It also provides people with hope by showing every year they are making strides toward finding a cure.
This is a place where they can come together and they can talk and they can touch. And it also gives us hope. It shows us that every year we're making strides and the same people come back as survivors year after year after year.
About 15 teams raised money throughout the year for the event, including the PUD Volkswalkers, who raised more than $18,000 for the event through a series of fundraisers, including providing meals for employees every Monday.
And we also, twice a year, we have an email auction. And we do everything from cleaning houses to baked goods to lunches to, there's been people that have donated vacations to us, tickets to the Seahawks, tickets to the Mariners, things like that. We will raise in 8 hours time on one of our auctions, we've raised $7,000.
Along with the fundraising before the event, people were raising money at the event through selling food, running a dunk tank, and selling luminaries. The luminaries were white paper bags lit with a candle and decorated with the names of people who had struggled with the disease. As the night descended on the crowd, the lights were shut off and people walked by the light of the luminaries. They listened to the story of Marlene Larson. Larson told the crowd she survived 2 battles with breast cancer. And in 2012, a tumor was found in her small intestine and cancerous spots were found on her liver. She is presently receiving treatment for the disease. She echoed the message heard throughout the night that Relay for Life was about hope. For iFIBER 1 News, this is Cameron Probert reporting.
And we will have coverage of the Quincy Relay for Life on Monday. Our own Cody Johnson was the master of ceremonies and is helping them continue the fight against cancer. Another battle in our area is one on hunger. To help people understand how hard it can be, a challenge was made for people to eat on a budget of $38 a week. Here with the story is Spencer Graham.
Yesterday marked the end of the week-long SNAP, or Supplemental Nutritional Assistance Program Challenge, where participants were expected to spend no more than $38.83 on food or beverages, the same amount received by the average user of food stamps.
I ate a whole lot of peanut butter. I did do lots of good fruits and vegetables. Grocery outlet. I was able to get an amazing deal on lots of mangoes and avocados.
Community Services of Moses Lake and Community Farm Connection in Wenatchee partnered to sponsor the event with hopes of raising awareness for those living on a low budget. Participants were expected to avoid accepting free food from friends, family, or coworkers. Moses Lake Mayor Bill Ekrit said that being involved with politics makes this particular challenge rather difficult.
It is tough. You know, normally that's one of the jokes when you're a politician is that you put 10 pounds or so on that first year you're a politician, but it is tough. You do have luncheons you go to, you have breakfast sometimes you go to, and even dinners. And what I found myself doing was even cutting back at those. It's difficult.
Eating cheap isn't exactly healthy either. Many people claim that living off such a low food budget doesn't allow much of a heart-healthy lifestyle.
I can honestly say I'm not really positive we ate as healthy as we probably should have. So it really makes us realize how tough it is for those families out there that are having to struggle to do that same thing. And things are expensive. You know, when you try to eat healthy, it is expensive.
Roberts says that the importance of this challenge is made clear when considering that about 15% of U.S. residents use food stamps.
It is almost 48 million Americans that are on the SNAP program, which was astounding to me. I had no idea it was that many.
For iFIBER 1 News, this is Spencer Graham reporting with Ryan Lancaster.
Thank you, Spencer. Each of the people you see here has warrants for their arrest and is wanted by various law enforcement agencies. If you see any of these people, the DOC asks that you do not attempt to detain or apprehend them, but to call the police. You can also call the Department of Corrections at 509-764-6180 during the day or 509-762-1160 after 5 p.m. Well, if you're tired of the rain you're going to enjoy this weekend, it's going to be a scorcher. Your weekend weather forecast from the iFIBER 1 Weather Center and more news when we come back. Stay with us.